We are recording. All right, go, Tony. Go. You take it.
Hey, so Pat, tell me about your world since this whole thing has gone on. Like, how are you at? Where you're at? What's going on business-wise, and how are you handling it?
Well, it's all been pretty crazy. I mean, I've shut everything down on April 19th. And if you call my number up now at the work, you'll get a message that says we're shut down and we won't open up until, I shut down March 19th.
Okay.
And officially, we're getting ready to open up again April 19th. I've been going into work because I can't sit at home. I mean, I've already put on like 8 pounds, and if I had stayed at home, I'd probably put on 20 by now. So it's just true. I sit home, watch TV, and eat all day long. So I went into work all by myself. I've been trying to get stuff done as much as I can. I had a lot of work in there when this whole thing shut down, and I've been going through it. And people have been emailing me, and I've been saying, "Yeah, hold off for a few weeks, and if I'm ready to start taking in work, I'll let you know." And then people have been writing back, and so now I am starting to take work in slowly, and I'm not taking in like projects. Some people want to just give me a whole bunch of parts and paint them and put them together and send them back as a complete guitar. I'm not taking on that stuff because they take on so much time. And running as a staff of one, I just don't have time to donate to doing fret work and cutting nuts when I need to do a lot of paint jobs. So that's what's going on right now.
You're lucky that you have work still.
I am very lucky. But, I mean, honestly, I'm down like 70%.
Yeah.
So I've got huge overhead, and I've got 4 people that work for me who are sitting at home. And I applied for the PPP. I got denied once by my bank.
Wow.
I want to get my guys paid.
Right.
I don't even want to get into it because it's all political, and we don't need to do that here.
Yeah.
Facebook is.
Facebook's for that.
Leave that for Facebook.
Right.
Well, Pat, so right now the majority is doing the road tested instruments, your own instruments, and the companies that you're painting for, correct? That's the main thing. Okay.
So my business has always been about painting for builders and repair shops and guys who walk in and just say, "I love this guitar, I hate the color, let's refinish it."
Nice.
So that's always been my business. The road tested and Wilkins guitars has been something that I brought in 10, 12 years ago. I've always built guitars the whole time I've been in business. I started pushing about 10, 12 years. College tested, and it did well. As a matter of fact, and I did quarter of 2018. So imagine that.
Sorry, Pat. It cut out for the last
I can't hear you, Steve.
Hey, check, test. Can you hear me, Pat? Pat, hello? No?
I can hear you now.
You can hear me now? Yeah,
Can you
cut
hear me?
out. You cut out. Yeah. I can hear you now, but it cut out for a minute, for that. Can you say that again? Sorry.
Yes. So I don't know what you heard, but what I said was that I've been building. I've actually sold more bases in the last couple of months than I did in the last quarter of 2019.
Wow.
Cool.
So, I mean, it's great. That part's great. Actually, and I'm going to have to build up some new stock.
Nice.
Good problem to have.
It is. You know, I see this whenever this country gets into kind of a downturn or something dramatic happens in this country. People turn to entertainment, they turn to music or arts or whatever to kind of comfort them while they go through it.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of people right now who have a lot of times, a lot of musicians right now that are every musician I know, me too, I get it. We're all out of work right now. And even the guys who do good work in studios, a lot of them aren't even working as well. So they got time to refinish their guitars or repair them, do this. There's that old kicker in the garage closet they have looked at for years. They'll call me up. They want to restore it, refinish it, whatever. And then some guys, just to make themselves feel good, are buying new instruments.
Yeah.
And or preparing for for the work that's going to happen when this thing all gets over. I don't know if that's the right word or not. Becomes new, changes. Who knows what the new normal is going to be?
Yeah.
I've heard guys talking about doing like live streaming, the whole band setting up in a garage or outdoors in a driveway or a backyard or something like that, and live streaming, Venmo, PayPal.
Yeah.
Yep.
Tip jar.
That could be the wave of the immediate future.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard mixed reviews on that.
Yeah.
Some people are like, oh yeah, it's cool, and other people like, no, I'm not really yearning much, type of thing. So.
Well, I mean, I don't think. I mean, you got to be a pretty big act to actually be earning the money that you were earning. I guess it depends. I mean, even a club date, what, $100? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think I see a lot more of it, but I guess there's levels of that too, right? Because I guess if you're a local person and you have a lot of people coming, like the Tijuana Dogs out here are big. They did a live concert and there was like 500, 600, they had this huge following, but then there's other bands, 4 or 5 people watching. So that pay has got to be down here and up here, as opposed to like if you're playing a bar, you're making $100, couple of $100. You're playing a casual, you're making 300, 400, 500. I mean, the pay is substantially less. It has to be. I would think. It's a lot less. So everyone's hurting.
Yeah,
I would think so too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's better than nothing, but it really, it's still a drop in the bucket as compared to what we were making, or, all of us were making. Everyone in every industry, I guess, not just music, but everywhere.
So, Pat, right now you're not taking on like contracts from some of the labels you're working with, like Lull or somebody else right now, right? Not till this is over.
Lull is still closed.
Yeah, they are.
I talked to Paul a couple of days ago, and their state is shut down, and Paul doesn't want to take any risk on bringing his crew back in at all. So, so I'm not taking in any work. Sadowski, I do work for him.
Yep.
I sent some stuff to him, but he hasn't sent me anything in over a month. And I talked to him, and he told me that he's working pretty much alone in his shop. That was a couple of weeks ago. I haven't heard from him since. So I don't know. I mean, New York's pretty bad. New York is really, really bad. And I'd be a lot more careful about being in New York than I am out in California, where, I drive to work in the morning. It used to take me half an hour. Right now, it's taking me 10 minutes. So the people just aren't going out as much. People are really doing the safe distancing thing. I don't have to take mass transit. I don't know what Roger's situation is. I don't know if he has a car or if he's taking mass transit or not. But if I were in New York, I'd be a lot more careful than I am out.
Sure.
So I don't know what's going on with him. I've got some smaller guys that I do work for that are sending me stuff. Some smaller businesses are sending me stuff, 1 or 2 pieces here. A lot of guys right now, honestly, my biggest income right now is coming from guys who want to refinish their instruments. They got time, they're not using them, and they've got time.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
So I'm good with that. I mean, normally I'm telling people 5 weeks, and sometimes I can get them turned around in 3 because I don't have a lot of work.
Sure.
Cool.
I don't want anybody to think that's what the norm is. I really don't.
Right.
If everybody starts dumping on me again, or I should say that everybody starts sending me their work again, because believe me, it's not dump. I want your work.
Yeah.
Then it could start taking 4, 5, 6 weeks. So yeah, send me your work if you want. I mean, if
Yeah.
this is going out over the internet,
Yep.
send me your work. If you're
Oh,
looking
this
for new
link is
gigs,
going on TalkBase. When it's ready, this goes on TalkBase, and everyone will see it on TalkBase. So
There you go.
great.
Well, I mean,
Well, I got bases already built. If people want bases already, I got a bunch already built. And if you want something special, email me or call me. Find me on my website. I'd
This
love
is
to do whatever it is I can help.
Pat, can you see what I'm holding up?
I love it. Yeah, the number one, huh?
This is the prototype that you built for me when I was doing some stuff for you. This is the first one, and it's gotten this thing, it was matte finish and it's nice and polished here, but these guys have played it, and it's just,
I like that one.
this
Yeah.
is home run, man. It really is. This is the road tested Wilkins WRT PJ5, correct?
Yep, that's the prototype.
This is
You
it.
got the very. I couldn't even keep the first one. You had to have it.
Like, Pat, I want this. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's just killing, and all of your road tested instruments are incredible, man. And I know, we know a lot of people that have them, and like you said, right now the people have bought more, put more orders in for them.
Yep.
Which is great.
Yeah, there's a store in Sacramento,
Okay.
or that area called Base and Beyond,
Ah,
Mhm.
and he ordered 3 of my Marlins,
nice.
and,
That's the
and
sports
he,
scale?
that's a medium scale.
Medium scale.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. And so he got 2 5s and 1 4, and I think he's either sold them all or he's ready to order more.
Nice.
I
Good.
know. I mean, I'm so grateful that people still want me to do stuff for them. Really am.
That's cool. Well, it's great stuff, man. It's amazing.
Thank you.
it's kind of a bummer because in a few weeks, if this wasn't going on, we were supposed to be out in California for the event, and the 3 of us were going to come and play and do videos
Yeah.
of all your gear, right?
Mhm.
And do like a 3 guys, 1 bass thing on multiple instruments. So
We will still do that one of these days.
we will.
Yep.
Yeah.
For sure. So Pat, okay, so on the Wilkins, the road tested bases, so we all talked about the roasted, the cayenne models. Can you give us, since you've worked with roasted, torrefied for a long time, what is your skinny on it? What is your ear, your playing? What is your lowdown on torrefied?
Okay, the first thing about the torrefied sonically is the mid range.
Okay.
There's something about the mid range. There's just a slight boost or maybe a reduction in the mid range in specific areas where it just doesn't cut through. So a cayenne model or a roasted, even just a roasted neck or a roasted body separately, there's just a place where the instrument cuts through the mix of a band without having to turn it up too loud.
Hmm.
So I mean that's kind of the constant struggle we as bass players always had, is getting the bass up loud enough to be heard without being so loud that the drummer turns and says, "Hey, guy, turn down." So, or the guitar player looks at you like, "Well, I got to turn it up now."
Yeah.
So that's the thing about the roasted. It's got that ability to cut through the mix. The next thing is weight. Without a doubt, all the roasted instruments are probably close to a pound lighter than a non-roasted. If you've got a full roasted neck and a roasted body, you're probably looking at a pound less.
Yeah.
Or somewhere near that. Finally, it's that gorgeous color, and it's that 30, 40-year-old pre-played vibe that you get out of it. The wood's so naturally dried, it's going to get resonance to it, and it's going to balance out better because of the weight. There's just so many positives to using a roasted piece of wood. So many.
Do you prefer all roasted or roasted neck with a regular body, or vice versa? What do you like?
I've got both, and I mean, frankly, it just seems to me like Whether you have just a roasted body or a roasted neck or a fully roasted body, it's you get that benefit out of the roasting.
Okay.
Sometimes, depending on the kind of music you play, sometimes the all roasted bass, maybe a bit more clarity than you want. Like playing more heavy metal, something like that. You want the bass to actually rumble a little bit more. You're not going to get the rumble out of a full roasted bass. So for something like that, add ash or add an alder body to a roasted neck. You get that. But if you're doing fusion, all roasted, without a doubt, all roast. If you're doing more classic rock stuff like that, either a roasted neck or roasted body. Basically, what I do with I play a lot of classic rock is I have a roasted body and a regular maple neck because I like the clarity I get out of it.
Nice.
Do you feel one makes more of a difference than the other? I'm assuming the neck makes more of a difference.
Yeah, I would say you're right about that. The roasted neck, you're going to get more of that clarity with a roasted neck than you will with the opposite, being a roasted body and a rosewood or clarity out of a roast. But you're still going to get that nice thump that you would get in that lower mid section of your sound.
Cool.
I don't know if
Clarity
everyone can
for
see
me is
this.
what it's all about.
I don't know. Oh, it's gonna be too bright. I had a picture of one of my necks that Pat did for my last lull. It's been sitting. The neck's been at lull for I don't know how long. Because of what's going on. And then when stuff started happening, I said, put me at the bottom of the list. I want to be the easy guy. You just do it, whatever. And then COVID came. So my lights, there's too many lights in here. So it's not going to show up. But one of the necks I just got that was Pat done is probably the nicest looking neck I've ever seen.
Yeah. Is it roasted?
It's roasted. It's all roasted maple. And then we did not the clear finish on it, but the antique finish. So it's more gold. Yeah.
Oh, that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And then you did the white lettering, the white logo, and it's really nice. I probably should screen share this or something,
Cool. Very, very cool, Tony.
Yeah, I'm
Hey,
stoked.
Pat, I was wondering this because I've got two basses with roasted necks, and I don't know if maybe this is a byproduct of it, but they seem to be smoother and just faster than a regular like maple neck of the same thing. Is something in that process make them easier to sand, or is that whole thing just kind of how it dries everything out makes it such?
Do they have the same finish on them?
Yeah, I would say they both look like they have a satin finish.
Okay. So roasting dries that wood out really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
So the pores of the wood and the grain, the fibers of the wood are harder. They're actually much harder. So when you do sand them, they will sand tighter and closer. The
Okay.
pores will be added closer together. So yeah, I can see putting a satin finish on roasted as opposed to a non-roasted neck. The finish is going to lay more on top and less penetrate the wood, and you're going to get a smoother finish. I mean, that's just a guess. I don't know for sure, but that just makes sense to me.
Yeah, because that's just the one thing that when I've AB'd them, it's just like, wow, this thing is just glass. I didn't know if it was something had to do with roasting it, made it sand as such that you could get a smoother finish before you did anything else to it, or so.
Well, that grain is really tight. It's
Okay.
like sanding. It's like sanding with 600 or 800 sandpaper before you even start up. So yeah,
Oh, wow. Okay.
it'll be tighter. Yeah, and the finish is going to sit on top of it more.
Nice. Do you have any plans for any new models, or are you just did the what's the Marlin, the shorter, the medium scale?
Yeah, the Marlins medium scale.
Okay.
Not right now. I have people that have been asking me about a short scale, and I did a short scale a few years ago. I built short scale on a Telecaster style body.
Okay.
Remember Marcus, the guy who used to do Lakeland's website?
Yeah.
You guys know him?
It sounds
Marcus?
so familiar. I
He,
think
he
so.
was, yeah, he was a big guy on Top Base for a while.
Okay.
He had two of the Telecaster style short scales.
Okay.
They
I
were
know.
30-inch. Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him around for a while, so I don't know what's going on with him.
I haven't seen him on TV either. No.
Yeah. So, yeah, I didn't get a lot of response for it. I sold 2 or 3 of them, and I was still trying to figure out the pickup combinations and the right bridge combination and everything, and it just seemed like people weren't ready for a short scale.
Mhm.
Now I see that Dan Lakin is offering a short scale, and what's his name, the mouse.
Oh, Rob Allen.
Rob Allen. Yeah, Rob Allen's doing a short scale. So maybe the time is right to do a short scale. But I really want to promote my medium scale right now because I really think that medium scale sounds better than a regular 34-inch long scale.
Mm-hmm.
There's something in the low end of it that you don't get with a 34.
And that's 32
And-
medium.
Yeah, the medium is 32.
Yep.
And a short is 30.
Mm-hmm.
So, Pat, 32 is one of those weird, because 30s have been popular lately, and of course 34 is the standard. Where do you feel the 32 sits closer? Does it you feel like it sits closer playability-wise to a 34, or do you feel like it's got that kind of ease of a 30? Like, where do you think it sits at?
I think it's a lot more like a 34. So going from a regular 34 to a 32 is a very easy transition, I think.
Okay.
I think you just need to readjust a little bit. For the older guys like myself who don't have that stretch as much as I used to, it made playing some of the stuff that I used to play when I was a kid a lot simpler. My hand doesn't get tired as much as it used to with a 34. I'm noticing I was starting to get some arthritis or carpal tunnel maybe in my hands, and I'm noticing some of that's going away now. It is helping with that. And it's just comfortable. Once I got used to it, it's all I want to play now. I go back to a 34, and it feels difficult for me to play.
What pickup configuration is the bass?
They come in all pickup configurations.
Nice.
So I can do a P, a PJ, a standard J, and then Howard Oyate's been winding me some really very cool soap bars. Have you seen the soap bars?
I think so. I'm not. Or your particular ones? I think he sent me pictures of them, or we talked about it, or something. I think so.
So he's got standard soap bars with either standard magnets or Tic Tac magnets.
Yep.
And
cool.
then he wound me some double J's. So imagine 2 J bass pickups glued together
Oh yeah.
and with Tic Tac magnets.
I love it.
Oh,
So
okay.
I've got 2. Yeah, they're killer. I mean, they make the 32 sound so big, just so big.
That's awesome. Well, the three of us are.
Howard.
Oh, Howard's the best. Love him, man. He
Yeah.
was on. Yeah, he's a good. He's one of the best guys. He's awesome.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, the three of us are big PJ fans, and I know you are too, Pat. There's something about the PJ, and especially your. I'll grab this.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that. So you have a nice transition, Steve.
That's that right there. Pat Wilkins is the money. Oh, there we go. There we go.
Oh, look at that! Look at that!
Oh, that's pretty.
Look at
That's my
that.
baby. You back up a little bit.
Yeah, there you go. But you found the magic spot for that jazz bass pickup.
I did.
You did.
It was completely by accident.
I love it.
I mean, accident and experimentation. So
Okay.
I mean, I had a body that I was putting pickups in, and I wanted to try to get something that gave me my unique sound. And
Yeah.
so I just moved a jazz bass instead of in that traditional where Fender puts their PJs now. I moved it forward, and I moved it about a half an inch, and I didn't really. It wasn't a big enough difference. So then I moved it all the way up to the very edge of the pick guard because I thought cosmetically that kind of looks cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I wired it up and I strung it up and I went, holy cow, this thing just sounds. Yeah, look at that, right up against the edge of the
Right
pick
there.
guard. So cosmetically it looks great.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, you got Nordy's and a Seymour in there?
No,
Or
no,
those
that's
Nordy's all.
all Nordy's. That's the original ones that we got that you put in. So that's the NP5 with the hum canceling J.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Those are great. I don't
Yeah.
think he makes those hum canceling J's anymore, does he?
Oh yeah, he does. Well, he makes them, but I know he doesn't. He make them especially
He
for
makes
you.
them-
What's that?
Well, not for me.
One more time.
Not for me.
Oh,
He
okay,
doesn't make those special for me.
okay.
Maybe for Lowell.
Oh, maybe for a little. Okay. Because also when you have a PJ, you definitely want to have that hum canceling or a double the jazz bass pickup. That bridge pickup needs to be a dual coil, correct?
Yeah, it needs to be hum canceling. Otherwise, then you're going to just inject noise into your system.
Okay.
So Howard makes me a side by side,
Nice.
either 4 or 5, and he's figured out a way of making that last that B string as loud as the other 4. Because initially, when he made the side by sides, they were the B string was a little weaker,
Okay.
but over a couple weeks or 3 or 4 weeks, he came up with a solution to that, and now his side by side 5s are killer. I mean, totally killer. The B string is just as powerful as the E, A, D, and G. I had to think about that.
How do I speak? I have to all the time too. No, it's fantastic. It's such a good bass. I love it, man.
I mean, Steve and I were like these guys forever, and the more as time goes on, we're like, there's magic to a PJ that it's an unsung hero. It really is, And John plays everything. John's got like as many basses as Steve and I put together. So,
Wow.
You like bringing that up, Steve or Tony?
Mhm.
You're just jealous.
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
Oh, right now I only have half because the other half are in my office and I can't get there. So
Oh, that's funny. So Pat, have you so gig wise, and you were playing with what was the band that you were playing? The Dallas
Hodge Band.
Band. Have you talked to those guys? How are you guys going to come back with some gigs, or hopefully going to have some stuff booked out far enough that you'll be able to, or who knows?
It really stinks. We had just released our record.
Yeah.
And we were in Billboard, and we were starting to climb the charts, and they were spinning the record on stations all over the country, and we got no gigs to promote the band. It stinks. So I mean, we had gigs lined up, and everything's canceled, and there's no way to promote the band. And social media can only take you so far. People want to come out and see you live, buy the T-shirt. Here's the band.
Wow. Oh man. Sorry, man.
And
Sorry to
I'll
hear
tell you, every time something good happens to this band, something bad happens to this band.
Oh.
Well, the last time we had a big festival gig that we were going to play, we were going to open up for a bunch of local big name blues artists out here. Our Dallas got a detached retina,
Oh,
and he couldn't perform, so we had to cancel.
Ooh.
Yeah. Well, he was okay. He was
Good.
okay, but he was out. He was out for a month.
Yeah. Wow. Oh.
Well, our very last gig we did, Dallas has got a brother named Catfish Hodge, famous guy out of Detroit.
I was gonna say I've heard of him.
Wow.
Yeah. He used to play with a bunch of guys from Little Feat.
Oh yeah.
He used to tour. He would be the opening act for Little Feat sometimes, and actually sit in with the band, and that was Dallas's brother Catfish. And for a while they had a band called the Hodge Brothers in Detroit. And so the very last gig we did, Catfish actually flew out and spent some time over for a couple of weeks. We had a gig up in Santa Barbara, as it turned out. So he came in, he sat in with us. We did like 3 songs with Catfish. The place was packed. And there's actually a video right now of a couple of the songs we did with Catfish.
Oh man.
So yeah, they're running on YouTube right now.
Nice.
So just, I mean, everything was happening for us. The album was great. The album was happening, and then the whole world came apart.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what? I can't complain, because there are people who are not around anymore because of this, and who are much worse off than I am.
Yeah.
I mean, the guys who work for me, I really feel for those guys. They're good workers. They have supported me for years.
Yeah.
I got one guy who's been with me for 30 years. I got another guy who's been with me for 25 years. And then, oh yeah, the guys have been with me forever. They work their butts off, and they do great work. Some of the best guys in the biz. And right now they're sitting at home and wondering if they're going to be able to pay their mortgage and their insurance and stuff like that. So I paid them the first 2 weeks that we were done and down. I went ahead, I paid them money out of my pocket, because I was hoping it was going to be over soon, and it wasn't. So now I'm just hoping the government comes through.
Cross the fingers. Yeah. Man.
Yeah. That's all I get about that. Right?
Oh, there you are. What was that, Pat? Sorry, it cut out for a second.
Yeah, so I said I'll just leave that up to the government to try to figure out.
Yeah, hopefully it'll be, back to somewhat normal.
Well, there's some openings going on, like isn't the beaches in California are starting to open back up?
Yeah, there's slowly. Yeah.
San Diego's opened.
Orange County.
Orange County's opened. Ventura County has opened. But Los Angeles County, no way.
Yeah.
No way. I mean, the proof is when they closed the beaches, and on a weekend, everybody went out there, and it was wall-to-wall people. You can't have that. I mean, I'd love to see the beaches open up. I'd love to see the businesses open up again, but LA's got way too many people in it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people who just don't believe this thing is real. And so they're just going to take advantage of everybody else by not being safe.
Yeah. Man.
Even in Boston, the beaches are closed. I can't get to the beach. There's barriers and tow trucks, and you can't do anything. Yesterday was.
I heard in Michigan, the mayor or the governor of Michigan said, if you had a house on the lake or one of the lakes, and you weren't living there permanently, you couldn't go to your lake house.
Yeah,
they wouldn't let you go.
We had that for a couple weeks, and the reason was, I mean, we've got a lot of tourist areas.
Yeah.
And I think the problem is like you've got these people from Detroit, which are, for us, ground zero, trying to be like, look, I'm going to get out of this, so I'm going to go up to Traverse City, which sounds great, sounds like the smart thing to do, except you're probably, depending where you are in Detroit, you were probably exposed to it, and they didn't want that spread to happen. And then like up in Traverse City, the healthcare thing is just not as robust as the hospitals like in Detroit or something like that. And they felt that doing something like that would really just completely max out these smaller town hospitals, like where, 3 or 4 small towns that are about 15 minutes apart share one hospital kind of situation. But that has been, as of Friday, that's been lifted.
Okay.
She said you could do it. She said she would still request that, if you're in some heavy areas already, you just stay where you're at. But you are allowed to do so. They opened up a couple more things like that. So
that makes sense to me. We all got to be safe. Nobody knows for sure what's happening.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, I mean, good for her to do that.
Yeah, she made a lot of real tough choices, and I mean, I don't have to agree with all of them. I think some of them I don't, but I respect what she's doing, and I think if I was in her situation, I would have done the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Right. Err on the safe side, right?
Yeah. No one wants to come out of this being accused of not doing enough.
Right.
Yeah.
True.
Pat, what are you using
Tom,
what are you using for amplification right now in the shop? What's your test rigs at Wilkins right now? Using
Okay, that's a good question, because I got access to a lot of great amps right now. My speakers have, for the last 10 years or so, have been a pair of euphonic audio 10s. Those things are just amazing. Yeah, I got 3 of those, and I use 2 of them at the shop, and the other one is my reversal speaker. So in my home, so I love the sound of those speakers. They're just they're heavy. It's got a 10, it's got a 10, a 5, and a 3 in it.
Wow.
In a cabinet, it looks like it's only big enough for a 10. And now the problem with those is they're super inefficient. You got to pump a lot of juice in them to get something out of them, but you can't blow them up.
Right.
So what I'm running, I'm real lucky. I've got right now. I've got an IKE. I got the TR500. That's my test amp in the shop. But I also have a Demeter, the DMT 800. That's his little 800 watt digital amp.
Yeah.
And then Kevin and Jason over at Trickfish loaned me a Trickfish 500 just before COVID, and I've been running that thing. And man, between the Demeter and the Trickfish, I don't really think I need anything else.
So the Trickfish, you feel, has nice, good.
So Tony, why did you ask that? Why did you ask that question, Tony?
No, just curious, because I know, like, as a builder, reference rigs are huge, right?
Well, I have to say, okay, Pat is not only a builder, Pat's a gigging badass musician too, which we always talk about when we talk about whatever it is. If you're building basses, if you're doing strings, whatever it is, you have to. It helps tremendously that you're out there playing what you're building, testing and stuff like that. So it's always, I like to hear what you're playing, because I know, through the years we all kind of change, but it's nice to hear that you're, hey, you're open. Let's try this Ike. Let's try this Trickfish. Let's do that. Yeah, I dig that. And that he's out gigging them. You play them, you gig them, so you know what's working and what's not working. So anyways, I just wanted to interject with that Pat actually plays what he builds.
And that's huge, because not every builder does.
Yeah.
Right.
Not every builder does,
Well, and being gigging musicians like all of us, you get the nuances of playing. Like something can sound great in a room, like in your space, right, Pat, where you're building, testing, but it really has to do the same thing out on a gig. It has to, or it has to function that also. That has to be the function of it also. That's what I'm trying to say. So,
most musicians that I know have their bass that they take into the studio already. That's just the one. You talk to most guys who are on records, and you'll find out there's one bass that's always there.
yeah.
So my focus was really on trying to get something that people were happy with in a live situation.
Yeah.
It turns out that even my road tested basses sound great in the studios.
Oh,
But my focus has always been on creating a bass that you're comfortable using live,
yeah.
because most guys still play do most of their work live.
Hmm.
And then I wanted to ask about the Trickfish. Uh, Sounds good, has good punch, has good headroom, 500 watts. It's punchy enough, and because I like their stuff, I like those guys. They're good people, and Richard Roos was a friend of, we all knew Richard, and I loved that guy so much. And that guy, that was his baby. He helped us start that company, and I like to see them around. And they got good people working for them now too.
Ryan and Justin are pretty
And
cool guys, man.
yeah,
Those are good guys, right?
Justin, right?
yeah,
Yeah, they're great guys. Justin is one of those guys. He's been around for a long time,
yes,
kind of
yeah,
behind the scenes,
yeah.
but he, everybody knows who he is.
Oh
Everybody
yeah.
that has gear knows who he is.
I think I bought a
And
bass.
if Justin says,
I was going to say that I think I bought a bass from the bass exchange from him back in the day, back in Ventura.
yeah,
And yeah, I drove up there and along with Avenius and Tai Long Lee, those guys were. I bought
oh
from
wow,
those guys. Yeah,
that was the early days for sure.
the early days. But that's awesome to hear that you've got the Trickfish rig in there and that you're digging it. So that's cool. I like that.
It's a great live amp. It really is. It's got just the right amount of clarity. Clarity will make you sound a little bit sterile live. So this has got a lot of the warmth, and it's got a lot of the clarity,
Okay.
and the controls are really, really well laid out. I love the placement of the frequencies.
Okay.
They seem to work really well with me and my basses. And it's got plenty of power. 500 watts. I mean, that's like 5 times more than I used when I was a kid. My first real amp was a Fender 100 bass, and I was always competing with the guitar player who had the Marshall and the 212, the 2412 cabinets.
Nice.
We still are. We are
Marshall
still
Majors.
competing with them to this day. This still happens.
Yeah. Yeah, but I can be louder than them now. I can be a lot louder than them.
It's actually
now.
kind of funny how things turn out. I mean, you
Yeah.
guys know Joe Filoni,
Yeah.
the guy who plays with me in a lot of stuff. And I actually have to encourage Joe to turn up. I'm like, Joe, don't be so conservative. I'm like, this is rare. I'm telling a guitar player to turn up. This doesn't happen too often,
Yeah, exactly. It's like telling a drummer to play louder. That never happens. No. No. Like, that's
It's like
never.
telling the keyboard player, take your left hand and cut it off.
Oh, dude, like put a paper there and tape it down. Like, this is my area. Leave me alone. Oh, so terrible.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we're being terrible now because we love all of our musicians.
Absolutely. I miss the crap out of my musician friends, man. I'm lucky. I mean, this is a blessing to have at least this where we can all kind of talk and be face to face. But yeah, the human interaction, even just that's missing for everybody, I think,
Yep.
I mean, I'm redoing my little studio space with like electronic drums and so forth. And like maybe to rehearse it with masks on, just to do something,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
just to have something. Like I miss that interaction.
Yeah. It'll
Does
come.
anybody get any experience with working with videos, like using Zoom in 4 different locations? I mean, I bet it's latency issues and all that.
That's it, because it's all dependent on whoever's bandwidth, whoever's Wi-Fi, and
Yeah.
if one person has latency, yeah, I mean it's I don't know. I mean that's a tough one because it's all dependent on whoever's Wi-Fi provider. So yeah, I mean imagine a singer with some latency and all of a sudden it's gone, and yeah. So I think the jamming live via Wi-Fi or a regular internet provider might, I don't know how consistent that will be.
I don't know if Jim Kazam is trying to work out some bugs.
They're trying to that was a buddy of mine tried that, and it was really inconsistent. That's the thing. It's inconsistent, unfortunately. So
Yeah, I would imagine bandwidth is the key killer to all of this.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
But like I said, I think it'll slowly but surely come back, and you know, hopefully.
Oh,
So
it's got to come back. Got to
yeah,
come back.
yeah, yeah. So and then
I'm hoping there'll be a deeper appreciation for live music after this happens.
Mhm.
I hope so.
I
What
sure
was
hope so,
the
yeah.
maybe it was one of the ones we were on last week, but somebody brought up the interesting idea that maybe with the newer, when everything comes back and we have the bigger, the giant tours again, that instead of just doing a regular tour, they also, because of all the technology and everything now, is offer up a pay-per-view as well
Yeah.
as you're touring. For those people that still want to see the music.
Well, I did a gig. I did a gig. One of the last gigs I did before this whole thing hit was a local bar gig, and it was a company that came in and set up video and audio recording while we were playing live and streamed it over the internet.
Yeah.
And then you would log in, and I think he was charging like $17.50 or something like that, which I thought was way too much. If he had charged like $5 or even $10, I thought he would have gotten a lot more people to see it. But he was trying this out,
Yeah.
and so we played live in front of the cameras, and he had 3 different cameras set up, and he had a couple of guys that were running the cameras and doing on-the-fly editing while it was all going on,
Mhm.
and it's a great idea, and I think it may actually become, for us who love to play, maybe something that we're going to see more of in the future.
Yeah.
I mean,
Maybe
I
if
would
you went
pay.
to a particular application and it had like 3 or 4 views, and you could click a view, like, all right, want to see stage left, want to see stage right. Oh, the drummer's hot. Let me see him. You know what I mean? Like, like
Yeah,
whatever.
more of an interactive kind of thing. That's kind of
Like you
interesting.
could change your view, like click here, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, because everybody goes to a gig. They want to see somebody different. Not everybody
Yeah.
goes to look at the lead singer. Sorry, lead singers, you're not the only ones that people stare at. I hate to break it to you. So,
Wait. They still won't believe you. Just saying.
I don't think I'm ever going to get another gig in the world after saying something like that.
Hey, I think all 4 of us need to start a band. And there we go. We don't need anybody else. Come on.
Big bottom.
Big bottom.
Right.
Yes. So Pat, and then so you're doing so you do the finishing, you do the base building, you also do, so we talked about the road tested bases, but you build the higher line, your Wilkins custom instruments you're still building those also, correct?
I am. The big difference between the road tested and the older Wilkins is the exotic woods.
Okay.
So if you want a highly figured top, for instance, then that's actually more along the line of the older Wilkins. But actually now everything falls under the road tested umbrella
Okay.
because it got confused.
Got
My
it.
lines used to be VRB, WRB,
Yeah.
and I kind of discontinued that because it just got confusing. There are guys that are buying my old VRBs and they want to know, why isn't this a road tested bass? And in all reality, it is a road tested bass. It's just one of my older models.
Okay.
Mhm.
Everything's a road tested bass now.
Yeah.
Really.
I like it. And then you're doing alder ash bodies are your mainstay go-tos for bodies?
Yeah, mainly alder.
Mhm.
I do ash. I've got an order right now for a guy who wants to build like a Fender Ken Smithish kind of thing, where I'm doing a cherry body with a Coca-Cola top and a maple neck with an ebony fingerboard. So almost identical to the woods that Ken Smith used.
Beautiful.
and uh, it's going to be on a Fender style.
Yeah.
Right, right.
I like that ebony. That ebony feels so good, man. Sounds so good, so punchy. Boom, ping.
Yeah.
You hit a note, it's like a keyboard. Comes
Yeah.
right out. You know?
Yeah.
Yep. Well, all those old uprights have ebony fingerboards, so
Mhm.
that's what a lot of guys that's what they think of.
Has
I
the
actually, I prefer maple. Me personally, I prefer maple boards.
okay. Huh. With what kind
That's
of
just
body?
me.
Yeah.
Alder maple.
Nice.
That's kind of my thing.
Okay.
I like the clarity.
Mm-hmm.
You running into issues with, a lot, we've been talking about this with some people lately about ash, obtaining ash.
Yeah.
Have you noticed an issue with that, Pat?
I heard something about it. I think it came from some Fender site or something like that. The ash was getting hard to get. I didn't really look into it. I can't imagine why ash would be hard to get right now because it's a locally grown species. You don't have to go out of the country to get ash.
There was definitely a little bit of a shortage, but I mean it's still gettable. It's just taking a little bit longer for some of the purveyors, but that's it. I mean, it's still available. You can still get it.
As much as any other wood,
Yeah.
any other locally grown wood.
And that was swamp ash, by the way. I mean, specifically was swamp ash. That was the thing. Northern ash was still available and stuff, but swamp ash, it just took a little bit longer to get, but it was still available, and that's what Fender said that they weren't going to do swamp ash bodies anymore. Only, well, normal production, but special order custom shop,
Right.
they would still do. Which I don't know. Every other company's still doing ash, so there you go. All right, I like ash. I love it.
I love it. My favorite wood for bodies.
Tony's setup is ash ebony. That's your combo, correct, Tony?
And then maple is, I would say it's a close second, right? Maple's close second. Ash ebony is my favorite, and then ash maple. Yeah.
How about John? What do you?
Hmm?
Oh, sorry. I was just going to ask John. What's your favorite combo of woods?
Oh man. Since
Yeah.
Tony said I play everything. No, I mean if I have to choose, I mean I actually like a mahogany body.
Oh,
I like the warmth of that a little bit more. Then I like the like a maple neck with like either an ebony board on that because that'll focus up the warmth of the mahogany a little bit, or even just go all maple on it too.
nice.
So because that, I mean, even aesthetically, being a graphic design guy in my former life, that kind of thing appeals to me also.
Yep.
I'm a fan.
Yeah, I mean those are all great wood combinations.
I am a huge.
Each one balances the other.
What's that, Pat? One more time.
Each one balances the other.
I am a fan of rosewood with ash. Ash body with rosewood fretboard. I kind of dig that. That's, I don't know.
So you like it's more of a low end kind of thing.
Yeah. I want that growl, but I want that snap at the same time, the quickness, but I want that warmth and kind of growliness to it. So yeah.
For a guy who's been anti-rosewood almost my whole career, it does do one thing nicely. It takes off fret noise a little bit.
Oh.
That's my opinion. Pat would know way better than I would, but that's what I feel like. I feel like that, which I kind of like, to some degree. I feel like the rosewood just removes a little bit of fret noise.
Gives it a little more warmth.
Yeah, look, I think it just cuts the little high end a little bit. Just enough.
Yeah, I haven't noticed the fret noise. I haven't really paid attention to it.
Pat, have you used okume for any bodies?
I have not.
Okay, just wondering. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you know about it? Tell me about it.
Mahogany-esque, but not as dense and can be lighter and very mahogany-esque, takes color, stains nicely. So, yeah, G&L. What's that?
Does it look like mahogany?
Yes, very similar to mahogany. Mahogany-esque.
Lighter, Lighter in color?
Yes, lighter in color, so it can actually take some sunbursts. It can take some lighter colors, nicer, and it comes out nice. Yeah, and it's got a mahogany type of thing, but again, you can get it so that it's not as dense, like a dense piece of wood, so you can get a nice lighter piece of okume. A lot of companies like G&L were using that somewhat, and I've seen a few other companies, and it works good, looks good, sounds good too.
It's
Fun
like
to say.
mahogany and ash had a baby, and they call it a kumi. That's what it
Kind of
reminds
like
me.
that. Yeah. Yeah, I was just wondering, Pat, that, yeah, if you had checked it out, but it's interesting. It's nice. It's a good wood. Yeah.
Interesting. I'll
Yeah.
have to look into that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those. So, yeah. And you have your private label strings also, correct?
I do. I do.
Nice.
We're about ready to go live on Reverb and sell those.
Nice.
And my polish also. I have a polish.
I love
Oh,
that polish.
okay.
And
Yes.
I've had this polish for years, and I used to sell it to the Fender Custom Shop. That's all those guys used to use, and but they didn't sell anybody.
Oh,
It's really hilarious, and but I never really pushed it. But now I'm starting up my Reverb site,
awesome.
and I'm going to put the polish up on Reverb. The strings are up on Reverb, and
Okay.
then I'm going to start putting bass up on Reverb.
Beautiful. And is it nitro friendly also?
Yes.
Nice.
Yes, it's very nitro friendly.
Let me see if I have.
Yeah, one of the things you got to tell us, because a lot of people are going to hear this and see this on TalkBase, one of the things we want to know is you were with Schecter during like the historic years, right? What years was that?
Well, I went to work at Schecter in '77.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, give us a
Yeah.
little history, Pat. Give us a little history on that.
77.
77.
Okay.
Schecter started in '76. So when I went to work there were 10 people at Schecter. There was me, Tom Anderson, David Schecter, and then and a few other people. Like one of the guys who works for me now, Guillermo is his name. He worked in the buffing machine in the metal shop. He buffed out all the pick cards and bridges and all the stuff that we made. And so we hired a couple of guys out of Memphis that worked in a store called Strings and Things in Memphis. And we brought them over, and they went into the guitar shop. Tom Anderson was in the guitar shop. I was in the guitar shop as a painter, and sometimes I got to put stuff together there. We had a guy named Herschel Blankenship, who actually his company now, one of his companies is Access, Gigs and Bags, bags and cases.
Whoa.
He owns Access, bags and cases, yeah. So there's a few of us that started at Schecter that are still doing stuff.
Yes.
I was there until 83. And so I went through when I first started there, we were just a parts company.
Mm-hmm.
So they hired me to run the wood shop. I went in there and I ran the pin router, cut bodies, cut necks, did all that stuff. There were 4 other people in the wood shop. We're producing about 50 to 60 bodies and necks a day. A day.
Whoa.
And we're selling them all over the world. Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
incredible.
that was me on the big pin router cutting out all those bodies.
And you still,
I still have fingers.
I was going to say, you still have fingers, because those accidents are no joke, man. Ugh.
What a great time when there was guitar heroes everywhere and a guitar company could sell that many instruments, right?
No, we were just selling bodies and necks.
Yeah, that was just
Replacement
parts.
bodies and necks.
That's incredible, yeah.
Pickups, pick guards.
Whoa.
We had tuning gears made by Blueson.
Okay.
And so basically a parts company. And then people started saying, well, we're not sure your parts fit. So we built a couple of guitars just to see if our parts fit, and they did. And they fit. And we went, you guys are crazy. and here's a guitar to prove it. And people said, "Oh, you build guitars." So then we started making guitars.
Those
And
early,
it was just a great time.
those early Schecters were badass. They were good.
Totally badass.
Yes.
And they're so hard to get today.
Sought after and hard to get for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People who have them don't get rid of them.
No. So after Schecter, did you open up your shop to do the painting, or where'd you go after Schecter?
Well, there was a transition period where I went from Schecter to a company called LA Guitar Works,
Oh, okay.
which was kind of the repair store in the valley
Wow.
to go to. We're right next door to Norm's Rare Guitars
Yeah.
and the original amp shop
Oh.
with Robert Stamps.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Way before Gary. Way pre-Gary.
Way before Gary. Way before Gary. I mean, so imagine this. There was the amp shop,
Yeah.
LA Guitar Works, and Norm's Rare Guitars all in a row, right next to each other. So, I mean, it was on any day, you could see Bob Dylan or Tom Petty or any number of like huge megastars walking in there.
Yeah.
I made friends with a whole bunch of these guys. I saw Del Shannon the day before he passed away. Yeah, we had a really funny experience with Kevin Cronin.
Oh.
He was in over at Norm's, and he had something that he needed to get repaired. And Norm said, "We'll go over to LA Guitar Works." And so he came running into the store, and he scared us. And Toru, the Japanese guy,
Yes.
was sawing frets or a fretboard with a big old Japanese saw, one of these wide Japanese saws. And he turned around and saw Kevin, and Kevin's eyes got like big as saucers, and turned around and bolted out the door. It was hilarious. And I mean, there were so many great things that happened during those days.
Yeah.
It was fun times. So I learned how to make new instruments. And when I went to LA Guitar Works, I learned all about vintage instruments and how to repair instruments. And then I started my own business. I left after about a year and a half and started my own business. That was '84.
Wow.
And I've been doing it ever since.
I love.
I'm really lucky. I got in just at the right time.
Yeah. Well, all right. Lucky to deal with it, but still, you're one of the most skilled guys out there, Pat. You really are. I mean, it's proof is in your the stuff you produce. So, yeah, it's fantastic, man. And I have some.
There it is.
But look, so when it goes on the Reverb store, I'm gonna buy some because I love this stuff, and I'm almost out. So.
Dude, I'll send you a bottle.
No, dude, I will reverb it. I will pay for it, man. but
We want to support, yeah.
I want to support.
How long did that last?
Dude, so this lasted, I mean, probably a couple of, because I am horrible. I don't clean my stuff. I don't clean. Every once in a while I'll go, okay, and I'll just do it, but it lasted a long time, man. Lasted a while, for sure. Yeah. But I'm bad, like I said. Even though I play all the time, I'm the worst. I keep my stuff dirty. I believe it needs a little funk on it,
Dude, I'm the same way. It's like some promo pictures. I'm looking at the photos, and people like, "What did you do? You look like you had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and you handled the bass in front of the camera."
No, I think all of us are in the same boat. We play our instruments. It's not. I don't collect. I play them, so.
Right.
I think the only one that I have regular upkeep on is the Hilton. Probably I'll usually do some Howard's Feed and Wax on that every other time I change the strings.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm
But
not.
otherwise, yeah, I don't do anything until it's like Tony's things. You look at it, you're like, oh, yeah, maybe I could probably clean that up a little bit.
I ate some fried chicken and played. It's like, oh, but no, this stuff's. Well, I had a couple of bottles. It's running out, so I'll get some more. I'll go on that Reverb store. But it's fantastic. It really is. Yeah. And I think I used it on. I have a '68 Jazz that's nitro and was using it on that. So perfect. Works on everything.
Pat, you do nitro finishes?
I do not.
You do not.
It's
Okay.
not legal in California, and I don't want to run the risk.
No, all right. So
Yep.
before we wrap up everything, just tell us a little bit about what you're offering finish-wise. So when people like, oh, what does Pat do for finishes? Like, let's just get into that a little bit. Like, you do your trans colors are fantastic, but can you elaborate about some of the different options you have?
Well, I mean, there's not a whole lot that I don't offer. I don't actually do it physically in my shop, but if you want a large flake sparkle, I have a guy that does that for me. So I'll take it in, I'll prep it, it does sparkle, and then I back and I put the clear over it. I sand it, polish it out. Got a beautiful big flake sparkle. So that's one of the things that I do offer. That isn't traditional, but I do the trans finishes. I do the sunburst. I do the entire collection of vintage fender colors.
Nice.
I do a lot of the vintage Gibson colors. I can actually do a real Gibson TV finish, where not a lot of guys know how that's done properly. And I learned from a guy who actually did them at Gibson. He showed me how they did them back in the 50s and 60s. He was the guy that did them. And so I can do that. I mean, there's not a lot that I can't do. I don't do swirl finishes. I never got into that. But I have some alternatives that aren't quite swirl, but kind of look like that. Zion had a finish back in the 80s. He called it frosted marble, or a metal marble finish. I used to do the Zion finishes way back when, so I know how to do that. I used to do some of James Tyler's finishes in the 80s. So I don't do the psychedelic vomit, and I don't do some of his other ones, but I do some of his, like that sunburst that he has.
Yeah.
The red, the blue transition sunburst. I used to do those for him, so I can still do those. I used to do all of John Surra's finish work and all of Tom Anderson's finish work.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty familiar with all of that. And then
What about the sandblasted stuff that Fender did and all that? Are you familiar with that? Like the sandblasted stuff that they did?
I'm not.
That's
and I don't know that I've even seen those.
That's almost like a non-grain filled, so it's still porous.
Oh, yeah.
It's almost like they don't do the grain fill and then they put a matte finish over it, so you can actually still feel the grain. So but maybe they do kind of blast it a little bit to make especially on ash, where you have the grain, those dips and the divots, that they're very exaggerated. I think, is that what you're talking about, Tony? Like that?
Yeah. I think they call it the sandblasted.
Okay.
But it seems like looks like Pat's doing everything under the sun. So I was kind of curious on that too.
I think it's just a non-grain filled, exaggerated non-grain filled before they finish, if that makes sense.
So do they put a different color grain filler in there?
It's just it could be, but
yeah, they do. It's like they do
Yeah.
blue or red or something like
Yeah.
that. Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so like F-Base. F-Base has a finish that's very similar, right?
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Yep.
So I can do that.
You can do that.
Oh, you can.
I'm able to. I'm able to do that. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I'm a huge fan of the frost finishes, the matte finishes. I love those. I love it the way it feels, and I love the way it looks from a stage. Looks rad.
Well, what I like about the matte finish on stage is that since it doesn't reflect light, whatever color you got really shows the true color from the stage.
Yeah.
Where, I mean, if you're casting a red light on a white guitar, your guitar's going to look white. I mean, it's going to look red.
Yeah, it's going to look red. So, yeah. That's awesome, man. Cool. All right. Any questions, comments?
No, we got to give the socials. Where can we find Pat, right?
What's your websites and socials and all that? What's your website?
Okay, website is wilkinsguitars.com.
Cool.
Or you can get me at roadtestedguitars.com.
Cool.
All right, and my email is pat@wilkinsguitars.com. And Wilkins is with the I. No, it's not E. Wilkins.
I'll put text on there for sure. I'll add it on there to make sure. So, yeah, man, it's always great talking to you, Pat. You're one of my favorite people out
Thanks.
there, man. Seriously, and I know the guy. We all talk about you all the time. It's all good, man.
I love what you guys are doing, bringing this community together.
Thanks,
It's really
dude.
important.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You know, I mean, there's a lot of people that do a lot of really good work, and from my knowledge, not any of us have any huge secrets that we don't want to share with each other. We're
Right.
a pretty close knit community,
Oh yeah.
and I love that. I love that. You know, there was a comment that someone from Warmouth made years ago about the way we operate, and they called it a bedroom community. And you know what? It makes sense
Yeah.
in a way. It really does.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've got more close friends now than I've ever had in my life, and it's all because of this amazing community called the music instrument industry. I love it.
Yeah, me too. It's incredible, Pat. Thanks, dude. I can't thank you enough for joining us. And this will be all over the place, man. We're sharing the
Cool.
crap out of it.
Shut down.
Shout out to my buddy Jimmy Church. You guys know Jimmy Church?
I don't think
Fade to
so.
Black.
Fade to Black. Nice.
Fade to Black. Okay, so here's the deal.
Okay.
Jimmy Church used to work at oh come on. Well, he made my very first decals.
Nice.
He was the guy that made my very first decals for me, and then he went to work for Ashdown for a little while.
Hmm.
And then he left Ashdown and went to work at Line 6, and he went to work at Elisa's.
Oh my God.
But today he's this nationally syndicated radio talk show host,
Whoa.
Wow.
and he's on KFI radio, and he's got a show on, I believe it's National Geographic. And I mean, this guy, he's like a big name in the radio business now, and he does conspiracy. He does aliens. He does UFOs. And that's why it's called Fade to Black. You saw the big alien.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
Well, he'll get a following with that type of aspect, right?
yeah. Shout out to Jimmy Church, man. Nice.
I love Jimmy Church. He's one of my oldest and dearest friends.
That's-
And I built him a guitar about 2 months ago.
Oh.
It was a guitar, not a bass. It's one of the original pre Steve Vai playing guitars.
Oh.
Oh,
Oh.
Nice.
It was before Steve had his flame guitar, and so there's some question about who had it first. Okay, Jimmy says he had it first. I think Steve would say he had it first. But Jimmy's guitar gets stolen. So for years and years and years, he's wanted to recreate it. And so he came to me a couple months ago, and we recreated that guitar.
Wow.
Wow.
That's amazing.
So, and that's when I found out that he's like this nationally syndicated radio talk show, big name in the biz.
Crazy, just famous like crazy. That's rad, man. That's so cool.
You know, Pat, it's one thing
What's
is this
that?
like all the friends in this industry, like even if NAMM didn't happen, we meet in California in January no matter what and get burritos and drink margaritas or something like that. Like we would have to. You
Well,
know,
we'll-
Sure.
I'll
we'll
have to get together.
We'll make something happen for sure. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Any last thoughts or words before? So we're gonna cut off the public and then we'll stay on. But yeah, just thank you everybody for watching and Tony Puleo, John Moody,
Can I play with you?
and the ever more just the best person, Pat Wilkins. Yes. Thanks again, man. We all love you. You're the best. So cool. All right.
Thanks everybody for watching.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to stop the recording and we're going to stay on, but let's say bye to the public. Bye, public. See ya.
Cheers.
yeah.
Bye everybody.
Let me stop it.